Well, hello there and welcome again to my workshop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness, have I had a run-in with a squirrel. You may remember in the last episode I had noises up here, so I went outside, I blocked it in, and in doing that a squirrel ran out. Well, that wasn't the end of it, because over the next couple of days that squirrel was going mad, running over the top of this workshop. And finally I was washing up and looking across at the fence, and it sat there and stared at me. So I thought, you've got something in there, haven't you? You've left your young one in the roof, haven't you? So I came out and listened, and eventually I heard some scraping over by a door which is in the corner there. In fact, it's not a door anymore because I blocked it in, but I was able to open it from the outside. So I opened it, and sure enough, a little squirrel popped out, but it didn't come out. It decided, took one look at me and ran back in again. So I had to leave the door open overnight, but I think it's gone. But you just look at the damage that mum squirrel did to the side of my workshop. Do you know what? Don't mess with a squirrel. Anyway, in this episode I'm going to make a new bridge. I'm also going to add a little bit more bracing on this guitar, just here and here, just to add a little bit more strength to it. And then I think I'm going to be about ready to stick this top back on the body there. Whew, well, best get going. Whew. Not sure how we're going to do this. When I took the top off, there were strips of wood in these two places here. I don't really want to put those back, so I'm just going to put a little brace just across between those two there. Yeah, a little bit of shaping and that should be okay. Okay, I'll get these glued into place, and I think that's it. Trying to line them up with those braces at the back there. Just make sure that that is at right angles to the front there. That's okay. That one. Right, well, it's been about half an hour or so. Just had a cup of tea, and I think this is going to cured enough for me to remove these. Yeah, that looks okay. So I'm just going to put that to one side and let that finish curing. Let's move that out of the way. Right, now then, I need to make a new bridge. Now, this is the original bridge. This is a bridge that my great friend Barb gave me. Her mum and dad had a guitar shop. And this is the piece of wood, the Vancol, that I'm going to use to make the new one. So I was slightly worried that this piece of wood wasn't quite long enough for the original bridge. But... and I'm pausing now because that is a problem if the original bridge has left a mark on the top. Need to check that out. So it has left a mark, but fortunately I think it's very faint, and I think certainly on the edges there I think I'll get away with this one. So this is even shorter, and yeah, you just see it slightly lighter there. Yeah, I think I'll get away with it. I think the easiest way to do this is just to draw around the existing bridge, and then do some measurements from there. So I'll just mark where the string area is, and mark where the holes are at the moment. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to fit this to the body. I don't really like the idea of using the screws, but that might be an option. We shall have to see if I can get that line there. Let's measure it from the back. So we're looking at 23 there, 22 there. Unfortunately, the plastic has melted when I took this off, so it's not as clearly defined as it should be. It should be slightly sloping back there towards the bass string, so the scale length is longer at the base than it is at the top string there. So these look very similar. I'm sort of hoping that I can take some measurements from here. Let's draw this in. So that's the line goes across there, and it was 23. So in actual fact, the measurement I've just taken doesn't make any sense, because that's sloping the wrong way. So I am going to have to revisit this. Okay, let's go by this one here. So the centre of that is at 23 there, but the centre of it here is actually at 21 there. So let's mark 21 and 23. Draw that line. Okay, I'm going to try and oik out this little bit of plastic here. There we go. So I can get the height of the wooden section, and that is 9. And let's get some other measurements here. So that back piece there, well, it goes from 11 to, that looks like 13. It's got a slope down. Now I know the problem that I had with this acoustic guitar was that I could never get the action down to the sort of comfortable height that I like. I know you can't go too low with a sort of a nylon acoustic, but that's the reason why I've got these indents along the front there, because basically I shaved so much off the plastic bridge piece there that I had to go lower. But of course, because I'm making it my own, I can make the adjustment before I actually fit it down onto the guitar, so I can lower it if I need to before it's glued down. So I think what I'll do is I'll make it to this height, this 9mm height. If I go any thinner, I think I'm going to have trouble with the wood, if I'm honest with you. I may alter the shape of that to make it more of this sort of shape, so there's a little bit more material on the sides. Yeah. Okay, right then. Well, first things first, I need to cut a slice out of this that's probably about 10mm thick. Okay, I've cut that and sanded it to size, so I'm just marking where the holes should be on the back of the bridge for the strings to go through. That's the 6 holes. The 2 on the edge there are the edge of the actual block, but I think I'm going to slope it down. I rather like the gentle slope of this bridge, so I'm thinking if I line that up with the end, I can just draw that slope in like so. Do the same on the other side. Okay, I think that's a job for the sander. You know, I've gone and done it again. My measurements, absolute rubbish. What I did, I was marking the holes of for the strings, and I stuffed that right up that end there. Well, of course, it's not in the centre. So it's off-centred. So what I need to do is mark the centre of this block, line it up with the centre of that drawing, and then do all the screw holes again. Oh dear me, Dave. Always get your centre lines drawn before you do anything else. That's what Ben Crow always says, and well, he's absolutely right. Right, marking the slope, take 2. From the end to there. That works fine. And this side, that was good. They're both even this time. So now I can draw a line across. Let's mark that up. That's in the right place now. I'll just put the curve on the other side as well. Magic. No. I've got to cut this first on the bandsaw. So far, so good. So now it's a question of, I think, carving out all of this shape here. And that should be really interesting, shouldn't it? So let's mark it out. And we had it at 11 to 13 mil. So I need to cut it at 13 mil. And that's 12, Dave. So 13 mil, Dave, not 12. 13. Except I need it from the back, not the front. So again. 13. I need to create a channel down there. I'm gonna chisel it. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to try and cut the slot very carefully using this saw, this Japanese pull saw. I need more light on the situation. Now I've marked out the strip of wood that I've got to remove at an angle, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not quite sure how to do this. see what happens if I do this. Not a lot. It's going from this side. As I thought, so that's going to chip it out. So what we'll do is try the old trick, putting some notches in there. It's going to have to be fixed to the bench. Okay, I've clamped it to the bench. Let's try again. Well, whether or not that was the best way of doing it, I just don't know, but I do have something that resembles the bridge that I had before, but instead of it being sort of straight cut there, I've got a nicer curved surface. So I need to cut a slot just along the front there to fit the bridge piece in, the plastic or whatever it is I'm going to use, and I need to drill some holes through that back piece. So I think I'm going to tackle the slot first because that looks like a fiddle. Now I found this insert piece which is 3 mil thick, 2.5 mil thick. So that should do the job. Let me see if I can mark that up. Now, according to my measurements, find the ruler the right way around, it was 21 from the back, which isn't going to work in this case because I've done that curve there. So I'm going to have to go at 23, and we'll go 26 there. That should be enough of a slope. Okay, so we're going to do 2 mil, so let's just sketch out where this is going to appear. Going to be on the back edge of that. There, should be okay. How do we do that then? Okay, one thing says to me router, the other says stay away from the router and try and saw it. Got a brand new blade in this saw, so it's nice and sharp. I think I might score it with a knife though. First. Okay, here we go. My thin chisel just got a little bit thinner. Just sanded it down and smoothed it off to the size that I need for this little slot. Probably would have been a lot easier with a router, a Dremel router with a thin blade, but I don't know. Patience, that's what I need. There we are, it's coming off. What I did, I did 3 saw cuts in the end, 2 on the edge and 1 in the middle. So that's reduced the amount of material that I've had to get rid of. Well, that's a really nice tight fit, so I think what I have to do is sand this down a little bit to fit into there, but I don't think I'm going to do any more trimming on that, because that looks to me like that's gone in quite nicely. Whew, I'm relieved to get that done. Well, I feel that was a good afternoon's work. I've got this bridge roughly carved out and roughly sanded. I need to drill the holes for the strings, but I'm not going to do that today. I shall come back and do that another day. I think it's always best to quit while you're ahead, and I need to tidy up, so that's what I'm going to do. Hello there, well, it's a new day and I've made myself a little jig to help with drilling the holes in this new bridge, so let me show you. I'm going to have to drill through at a slight angle, so I've stuck this piece of slightly angled wood that I've just planed off at the bottom there onto this piece of board, and I'm just going to attach the bridge to it, probably with some masking tape and super glue, and then that should give me the right angle to go through those holes. Well, that was a bit of a wobbly drill, but it seems to have done the trick. Let's see if I can get this off now. Easier said than done. There we go. Here it comes. Okay, we've got the holes in it. Wow. So there we have it. Old one, new one. Just going to sand off the bottom to get the contour of the top of the guitar. I want to see if I can clean up this neck at the top here so I can put a new fretboard on. I've got a couple of fretboards that I've made already, which are the right scale length, so I shall have a look in a minute and see which ones look the best. get this set right. It's not my best plane, this one, because this is glue and I don't fancy buggering up the blade. That looks really good. Okay, well I've planed the neck down and I've also sanded the top of the lining there, so I'm sort of happy with that. Just need to glue that back down again. Sort that one out. The next thing is to put a new fretboard on it. Now I have already cut some fretboards, so I think I'm going to use one of those. This piece is the widest one and I think I need to use that. Because it needs to be fairly wide for this acoustic, and I think that's going to look really smart. So I'll use the old fretboard as a template and mark this one up. Just seen this. I mentioned last week that the rosette round the sound hole I thought was paper. That's it. Stuck on the underside of that fretboard there. Yeah, that was rather nice. But yeah, I like what I've done. Now I've just stopped in my tracks because I realise I've got a problem. It's already all very well using a pre-cut fretboard, and I obviously did that last time because just on the end there I can see I've filled it in with dust and glue. But I'm just thinking, quite honestly, I've got some wood, why don't I cut another fretboard and then I won't need to fill in there. I can only fret it to where I need to cut the fret slots. So I've got some more wood, this piece of Santos rosewood, so I'm going to make myself some fretboards out of this, and to do that I first of all cut it to 65mm wide. Then I'll trim it down to a depth of 7mm, and that will give me a little bit extra that I can plane off. Right, well I got 3 blanks out of that, so I'll put those 2 aside and that one will do the job. So I just need to cut some fret slots in this, and then we should be ready to go. Okay, well I've got the blank lined up on my fret slot cutting jig. I shall put a link to the video where I made this up in the corner somewhere, and down in the description. I'm going to cut some fret slots, and I'm not sure what music to use for this video. I think I'm going to have to get my thinking cap on. I think this one should be guitar music, to be perfectly honest with you. I fancy doing a bit of guitar music. Anyway, well, whatever I come up with, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, well that was the last one, 19 frets in all, so just need to lift this off the plate here. Off it comes. Pull that off. And there's the fretboard. Right, well I think I'm going to call it a day for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I feel like I've made some progress. I've got a bridge and I've got the fretboard now. I think I'm getting close to be able to glue this whole thing back together again, which should be really good fun. Well, thank you very much for watching, and thank you again for all your comments, and don't forget to look out for the Jurgen Cup Challenge. Go to the Guitar Builders Collective to see some information about that. I shall be starting my entry fairly soon, but I want to get this guitar done first. Anyway, in the meantime, stay safe. I'll see you soon. Cheers.